Test. Hey everybody. Hey everybody. Hey everybody. Hey everybody. What's up? Welcome back to Touch and Grass Podcast, episode 16, I believe. Yeah, right now it's just the middle of the Bruins season, so not much is going on, but might as well check in before the All-Star break. And it's in Toronto, and I would love to go to the All-Star break, and I was curious, and I looked up prices, and it's like $1,000. So I'm like, no. There is a guy that I follow, Steve Dangle, does this, the SDPN podcast, the Steve Dangle Podcast Network. And he's going to be, he's met some of the NHL players, so I would love to be there for that. But I'm assuming you have to pay a bunch of money, and I just don't have that money. But, I mean, it'll be back. Like, Toronto is a big major hub for sports, so I know it'll be back in Toronto, but I just don't know when. But, I mean, that won't be the only opportunity I can see players. But for right now, Boston is in a fantastic position. I'm going to be doing a mock draft later on in the podcast right now, but just quickly wanted to look over how the Boston Bruins are doing, and they're doing excellent. They have 71 points, I believe. They're first with not a commanding, but they're in first with a comfortable lead behind the Panthers in the Atlantic, and everybody wrote them off this year. Everybody wrote them off last year. But everybody seems to be doing amazing. Pasternak has 72 points in 51 games, 51 games. So as long as he continues this pace, he will easily get 100 points in less than the amount of games needed. Like, we're at 52 games, I believe. 49. So if he continues this pace, he can easily get 100. And then Brad Marchand obviously killing it. Coyle is a surprising player. McAvoy, not very surprised. JVR has been amazing. He hasn't gotten a lot of goals. Oh, I'm so sorry. That I already did that reminder. JVR hasn't gotten a lot of goals, but he has kind of turned into that Krejci type of player. He's not replacing Krejci, he's not better than Krejci. He's just the type of player that Krejci was. Not necessarily the goal scorer, but he's there to set up the play. He's there to build the play. Frederick has been doing way better than I think people assumed this season. I think unfortunately with the thing that happened to Lucic, now he's away from the game, it kind of gave Frederick that, like, okay, I'm the guy, I'm the tough guy, I need to be the guy that they drafted me in the first round to be. And he so far has. Like, him and Nebraska both have been that surprising player this season. So is Morgan Geekie. And everybody's harping on Lindholm for not doing amazing, but right now, these are current current numbers. Right now, Lindholm is plus 17. That's still very good for him. He does have a lot of penalty minutes, but I mean, that's fine. Everybody does. Like, I don't really have a concern, but Morgan Geekie and DeBrusco are actually low, so is JVR. And Danton Heinen has actually been playing very, very good for the Bruins. I think this is kind of his redemption, his welcome home party, basically. I always liked Danton Heinen, and we actually ironically traded Danton Heinen, I believe. We traded Danton Heinen for Charlie Coyle, and now we have both of them on our team. Kevin Shattenkirk was good at first, which kind of sucks to why he's not playing good anymore. But honestly, he was only signed to a 1-year contract, so I'm really okay with that. Brandon Carlo, he's not getting a lot of points, but he is a plus 23, so that's huge right now. So he's not high on the leaderboard for points, but he is probably high on the stopping goals, on the block shots, on the just being a presence on the ice. Same thing with Chara. He didn't get a lot of goals. He didn't get a lot of assists. He was just there. He was just that big, brooding guy on the ice that if an opponent did something to upset Carlo's teammate or Chara's teammate, they knew they would have to deal with Chara. Like, so there's not a lot of, there hasn't been a lot of funny business. Grizzlick, unfortunately, hasn't really been playing the greatest this season, so they may try and move him in the offseason. He does have 2 years left on his contract, and he's not playing amazing, but he's not in the negative for plus minuses. Now, Jacob Lauko, that one kind of sucks. I kind of figured the kid was going to do a little bit better, but, I mean, maybe he'll pick it up next year. He's still very young. He did play kind of good later on, and he has kind of started to pick up his game. He is he is a -4, but he's played 36 games. Derek Forbert, I haven't seen him a lot this season, but when he does play, he's actually been a very good, another big presence on the ice. And then the goal is, you gotta commend it to them. They are both saving over 900%, 915 and 924. Swayman is having a career year, which is huge for him because he's on aberration for one more year, and he's actually played more games than Allmark. I really personally hope they don't split those two up because they have a great duo, but I wonder if they have talked to Allmark and said, hey, we might kind of give them the higher starting role to Swayman, not necessarily meaning we're going to reduce your games to 0, we're just going to give him the majority of games, because right now it does seem like it's a 50-50, and with Swayman on the arbitration for just 1 season, he is probably thinking about wanting to be the starter, but he hasn't necessarily said that. Like, he's a big boy. If he really wanted to be the starter, he would say something. There's a ton of people out there speculating that they think they know what he's saying. They think they know how he's thinking. We don't know how he's thinking until he says it. But yeah, that's just my little rant about, not rant, but that's just my little talk about the Bruins. They're doing fantastic right now. It's actually, I was about to talk about a completely different sport, but I'm happy that they're doing very well. I haven't caught a lot of games, but I like watching them. I mean, I've been just following them on my phone and listening to them a bit. Just sometimes a game pops up and it's already like the second period, and I've missed. We're winning by like 4-2 or something like that. I'm like whatever. I'll catch the next game. But for right now, I was gonna do the second round for a mock draft, but I think I'm just gonna control the Patriots right now because it's still kind of up in the air what they want to do. The fans are split. They're hiring new staff, so maybe that'll switch. Maybe they'll bring in a guy who says something about a player or finds out something about a player that nobody found out about before. And just to clarify something, there's this allegation going around from certain fans that Mayo is only hiring black staff members, which that is not true. That is not true, it's not true at all. And they're saying that he'll fire any white staff members, and he won't draft any white any white prospects. It's like, that is all completely false. I haven't seen a single article about Mayo doing that, and it's 2024. Why the hell would he? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But it's just people who want to say something, just the internet trolls who want to say something to try and wow everybody up, and all they care about is comments and likes. Comments and likes won't matter when you're 30 plus years old. So just to end that, talking about those guys, I'm just going to do the mock draft. So I'm just controlling the Patriots right now, so the first 2 picks will actually be autoed. I don't know how quick this will go. I hope it goes quick. Did they pick? I don't know what's happening. Oh, I'm dumb. Okay. So, wow. That's actually interesting. So that's interesting that I didn't know that the computer was going to offer you trades. I'm just going to keep trades off. I would assume, well, the Dolphins actually don't want, I don't know what kind of deal that would be for me. I guess I can't move it away. I don't know what kind of deal that would, I'm already doing 7 picks, so it shouldn't take long anyways. I don't know what kind of deal this would be. I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if it's not enough. Like, they're moving down 2 spots and getting an additional first next year from the Dolphins, which may just be a low first, but it is still a first with a kind of a potentially rebuilding team. You know what? Whatever. I'm just gonna say accept. I can just reload this page again. Wait, I thought it said... Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to give my first for next year first. That doesn't make any sense. There's a dumb deal. I knew it looked confusing to me. So we'll go back into this and play, and then we'll have Daniel's alt, because that makes sense. I highly doubt that would happen, but for some odd reason that happened. Now this makes a little sense. We could trade down 2 spots to get an additional second round pick, but is that really worth it? I mean, if this is what happens with both Caleb and, I mean, the Chargers don't need a quarterback, but what Arizona does, Williams will be taken here, but may actually, I'm gonna say accept and see if Williams. Okay. I don't know why the computer keeps offering me trades during my pick, but like, this is kind of interesting for the Patriots right now, because this would kind of slightly make sense. They're just moving down they're completely trading out of the first and getting a first, a second, and a third, and a fifth, and a 7th next year. Which I don't know if that's worth it. I'm actually going to say no. And for some odd reason, I doubt this would happen, but for some odd reason, Caleb Williams is here, so I'm actually going to draft Caleb Williams, and we'll see who's available next. Yeah, that's an A+. I will say Caleb Williams shouldn't be here, because sometimes the computer doesn't exactly know what they're doing. So it's now my pick in the second, and they want me to trade down to... I do have 2 seconds. You know what? I'm gonna say yes. And just wait for my... So I have 37. They want to give me a first round pick and a third round pick. Yeah, I'll do. Again, sometimes the computer is a little dumb. But it is my pick right now, and nobody's offering me any picks. So it does say, what do we need? I'm surprised it doesn't tell me what I need. I'm not seeing a lot of names that I recognize. I should kind of look more at the second second round players. But we have a lot of picks. Like we have 2 extra seconds or 2 extra thirds. So like we have a lot of players to draft that we can draft right now. And I think that I mean, now with what's his name, with Belichick gone, they may not trade down. I think they're doing this, but I personally think we're getting a lot of picks right now. We already have our star quarterback. We could just draft a wide receiver. Let me look at if there's any decent wide receivers from any decent schools. I mean, what they could do with these draft picks right now is they do need wide receivers and O-linemen. So let me see if there's any O-linemen. There's QB, OT. There's OT and IOL, but he's 48. We're at 43. Let me just take this this wide receiver. And right now, I think that's a great draft so far. Like the Patriots have the quarterback of the future, and they have the wide receiver of the future. And they still have well, I do get a second next year at picking third, but I'm gonna reject that. They want to give me a second next now. I'm gonna reject that. It does give me an additional third to move down. Yeah, you know what? I'll accept that. And we'll wait for my pick. And they are giving me a second next year. Yeah, that's nice. A fourth and it's just that second. And I'm gonna reject that. I moved down 2 spots to get an additional 6th. No, I'm gonna reject that. Okay. I'm gonna reject that. Okay. So they want a tight end. We could just build the offense for the new quarterback right now. I would assume though you'd want to protect him because running back is a little easy. And the last time they drafted OT this high, it didn't exactly go well for them. Like they both cut them like 3 years later. So I think they're just wanting to take just an O-line, just a nice safe pick. Like we have a lot of picks almost back to back right now. So we could take an O-lineman. We could probably take another wide receiver. I don't remember. Actually, let me look up the Patriots roster. Because I actually don't remember who's playing. They do have what's his name on defense. Cornerback. I mean defense, but cornerback. My brain is blanking at his name. The cornerback, whatever, the new guy. So obviously I got the quarterback. I really don't think we need a running back. I could have sworn Damian Harris. Oh, this is 2021. I don't know why it's showing me 2021. I guess I didn't really specify. Hopefully this is right. Because I was going to say Damian Harris is on Buffalo. Again, if you have good O-linemen, it's not going to matter if your running back is not great. Like, it's not like a big name or anything. What a weird list to show me this. And we actually do have Farrell Brown as that tight end. No, just Jesus. Like, why is this so hard? England. That is not how you spell England, but whatever. I don't know why my internet is slow right now. But yeah, I wouldn't be drafting a running back this high. This is just an article, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. Oh my god. Can I find one list? Thank you. ESPN. Holy. I don't know why that wasn't the first one. That's the most popular one through fans. I'm not on the timer. Okay, I thought there was a timer for some weird reason. Okay, so quarterback we got. We do have Ezekiel Elliott. Like he was good. Like it's not like he was crap. And we do still have Stevenson. And then for wide receiver we have that new guy. And I think they would kind of get rid of, like we have Thornton. I think they would get rid of some of the wide receivers, and then who's on defense? So they have Bradley King, Lawrence Guy. They don't really have another like star cornerback. I guess they do have J.C. Jackson again, and Jonathan Jones, and Marcus Jones. So maybe they're okay for now on cornerback. They could probably, let's look at who's available. Is there any DT or like, there is that Trotter guy in the second. I did hear about this guy's name, but because we're picking in like 3 picks, is there an O-line? But there is Zach Frazier, an O-lineman down here, and Zach Minton. So you know what? I'm actually gonna take Jeremy Trotter. So it's another A, and then we have another pick, and actually Powers is available. So I think we're just going to protect. That's another A. We're just going to protect. So they want so reject. Why? I do get a second, but I'm going to reject that one. I mean, honestly, they might do these type of trades just to, like, we would have a lot of second round picks next year if I traded all of these thirds for next year's second. But in reality, what GM is going to do that? What GM is going to trade a second round pick for a third round pick right now? I mean, maybe there's a player that they really like and they're overvaluing the guy, but I'm just going to flat out say no. Let me look back at the roster. I don't really know. They do have Belmore, but I did just draft an LB for them. Like, imagine like Judon and a young guy. I could probably draft them another wide receiver. What are we in? We still have a lot of picks right now. So what I could do, and it is such a deep draft for wide receiver, so I think I'm actually gonna take. The defense is always nice to show up. I'm not gonna take a running back. Is there any names that are kind of sticking out to me? Tyler Davis from Clemson. No names are kind of sticking out to me. Let me go back to the top. Running back. I could go for safety because I actually don't, off the top of my head, without looking at this list quickly. I think they do have Kyler Duggar, and he's actually been quite good, and Joshua Bledsoe. So you know what? I'm actually gonna pass on safety. They could go for wide receiver because having one doesn't exactly change the dynamic of this. So, do I want to go for Florida State, or do I want to go for Florida? Ricky Parcell, Florida State did actually have a good season this season, and Florida kind of has always been that kind of middle of the... I could go for USC's Brandon Rice. USC is a typical school for wide receiver. Let's go for Florida State, because I know they had a good season this season. That's the running back. Florida State. That's our first B, but that's really okay. Our first B plus in pick in the third round, like, that's still very good. And we have loads of picks left. Now let's see. We don't really need a cornerback. We don't need a wide receiver. We could probably go for that LSU guy, which I might, because again, off the top of my head, I just know about Belmore. Or we just really show up the side defenses, like really get some good LB. We could go for running back. I'm gonna wait on drafting a couple more O-linemen, because right now I kind of just want to show up on that defense. Brandon Rice is still here. Ricky Parcell is still here. Do I want to go cornerback? I think a cornerback might be a waste of a pick. For some reason, this Wingo guy, because it is LSU, so I'm actually going to take him and another A. So right now, this draft is starting off to be amazing. We've just shored up a lot of positions by trading down multiple times, and this again would never happen if we traded down from 3 to 5, and somehow Caleb Williams would be there. No. They want to give me a 4, 5, and a 7. They want to move down they want me to move down one spot, and they'll give me an additional 7, 4, 5. Yes. Why the hell wouldn't I do that? No. 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 Okay. That was a weird trade. I could take an edge to really just... But I haven't really heard much of Western Michigan. Holy, that was a mouthful. I'm wondering if I want to take we are kind of in the 7th, but we do have we have 6 picks left. So I could take... When do I pick next? I could take 2 edges. I could take Marshall Nealand. I haven't really heard much of him, but we're in the kind of top 100 players right now. Wow, this podcast has gone much quicker than I thought. So for right now, I'm just going to... I could take a DL because I don't know. So you know what? I'm gonna take edge A plus. Perfect. So we have another pick. I'm gonna say yeah. They're just offering me 5 and 7s and 5 and 7s, and I mean I'm just gonna say no right now because I don't have a lot of time. So right now if I'm gonna just take that other edge just to really shore up the edge. So it's another B plus guy, but we're right now in the 6th and 7th round. And I'm now probably going to take another O-lineman if one becomes available to me. So there's Delmar Glaze. He might get taken, though, because I pick... Oh, I actually have double picks in the 2nd round. So I'm actually going to take... I'm going to take Glaze. Reject, because I actually love having double back-to-back. They're offering me a 4th. First, I'm just gonna say no. Easily, I would do that any day of the week. So another B plus, but that's fine because it's an O lineman. I'm not seeing much, but I think I'm just gonna take just to really shore up that O lineman. So another B plus. That's fine because he's an O lineman. Now with my last 2 picks, I could take Luke McCaffrey. He might actually be taken, and I didn't see his name there. Yeah, he was taken. I should have taken Luke McCaffrey. I didn't see his name available, but I would have 1000% taken him. Like, he's the brother of Christian McCaffrey. Of course I'm going to take him. Frank Gore Jr. Now, that would be an amazing draft to get McCaffrey's brother and Frank Gore's son. Frank Gore was an extremely just big running back. And that's kind of the issue with the Patriots. They don't really have that tough guy just to get that additional 1 more yard or that touchdown. Like, they want to throw it more in the touchdown zone, but to improve the offense, I'm actually going to draft Frank Gore. I would have 1000% drafted the wide receiver. Now with my last pick, I think... Oops. Let me just kind of continue going down. I could take a tight end, just so we kind of have a young tight end in the mix. I've taken a lot of OT. I could take a wide receiver just to have a 3rd wide receiver, but I mean, you could just turn the tight end into a wide receiver. Whatever, that's fine. It's the last pick of the draft. I'm just gonna finally take, so from Colorado State, or who is the other one? From Arizona. Colorado State. I'll just take the Colorado State guy and see A plus. Perfect. Honestly, this draft has been amazing. I would have 1000% taken McCaffrey's brother because everybody says he might be amazing. But I think again, the Caleb Williams at 5, that definitely won't happen. But I personally think this might be a very good route for the Patriots to go, is to trade down from 5, and then but make it like a nice pick. Like, if you're trading down 2, get a lot of future picks. If I could see what my picks are next year, then I probably have at least an additional 1st. I probably have an additional 2nd, and I still got my quarterback. But I highly doubt Caleb Williams is going to drop to 5. But the good thing is there's still top quarterbacks in this draft. We could draft J.J. McCaffrey. We could, there's still a lot of quarterbacks in this draft. But it does get interesting down the way here. So we drafted a starting wide receiver. We drafted a starting linebacker to put in the defense. We drafted basically a whole new offensive group. We drafted 1, we drafted 2, we drafted 3. And then we drafted just a future running back and a future tight end. If they work out, great. If they don't, it was 7th round picks. That's not that bad. And then we drafted 2 edges and 1 defensive line. So we drafted 4 defensive players in roughly the same area, and then 2 wide receivers. So we really shored up the wide. I probably could have drafted 1 more wide receiver, and I actually would have if I saw McCaffrey's his brother. I probably would have drafted him here if I saw his name. So that might have been a better pick, but that's really fine. Like, O-lineman is still a very safe pick. I actually forget who drafted him, but I can't leave this screen to go to see. But I think this was an excellent draft. Again, what's his name? Williams will not be available at 5, but if they do trade down and he's somehow available, that works out way in their favor because they've gotten the top quarterback in the draft, and they've gotten picks for the future. Like, I think my picks next year, like I was saying, is an additional first and an additional second, because you never know with the team like the Patriots. It's as much as I hate to say it, it is probably good that they let Belichick go, because now they can kind of rebuild. But the nice thing with the Patriots is Belichick still built a solid team. Like, they just need that second chance to really prove themselves. But now with a new quarterback, with a whole new set of wide receivers, with a whole new set of O-linemen, with a whole new set of defense, and a whole new set of offensive players with the running back and the tight end, it's a brand new offensive team, because the Patriots last year and the year before actually had one of the best defenses in the game. So it's only right to just add on to that. But they really need to change the offense. It's not the running back's fault, and it's not the wide receiver's fault, though they could improve by getting younger and better wide receivers to go with their shiny new quarterback. It's like having a beater car and putting gold rims on it. It won't change much. It's not going to change the look of it. I think they need to draft a majority of offensive players, and I would say specifically majority of O-linemen, to really help the new quarterback, whoever it may be. And I really hope they draft a new quarterback. That is the issue of hiring from within, because Mayo has gotten to know Jones on a more personal level, and he might throw that into his factor of keeping him. Like, oh, he's a really nice person, or he's my friend, or like he's been having improvements. And obviously he sees more than us fans, but I personally think, as much as I liked the pick of quarterback in the first round, finally, after all of these years, we draft a quarterback in the first round, and then it doesn't work out, and people are like trying to chew his head off for being a bust. But I don't know if you can blame Mac Jones being a bust on himself. I don't know if you can blame him being a bust on the O-line. I don't know if you can blame him being a bust on his wide receivers. It's a team sport, so it's a team loss. And with such a high pick right now, I personally think they're going to go quarterback, and then I think they're going to take some wide receivers in the later half of the draft, because it's such a deep draft for wide receivers and offensive linemen. If they can somehow pick up like I would at least say 2 to 3 good, like solid built wide receivers. I don't need one fancy wide receiver. I would rather them trade up for a fancy defensive tackle, or a fancy linebacker, or a fancy cornerback. I probably should have drafted more cornerbacks, because I would have rathered a fancy quarterback. So I might do this again tomorrow. But I would have rathered a fancy cornerback to go with the fancy quarterback that we drafted last year in Gonzalez. Sorry, my throat's been very dry. And at the end of my rope on the podcast here, but I really think we should go quarterback, wide receiver, and then cornerback, and maybe DT. I feel like those are the 4 major positions that will really help this team, because we still have Judon, and he can really help the young guys that come in that play on defense. And then with a quarterback, it's funny because it makes me think of that line from Draft Day saying, when you draft a new quarterback, or something along the lines of this line, when you draft a new quarterback, you have to teach him about everything. You have to teach him about all the new plays and all the new yada yada. But if they're getting a new OC, then you might as well get a new quarterback in the process. You might as well just have be all new. The wide receivers will get opened. If they want to get opened, they'll get opened. Getting a new quarterback really helps this team, and I think this is the route they should go. And I think they should take wide receiver as their next pick. But I might do a round, only a round 2. For next podcast, I might be a little more realistic and draft cornerbacks a little higher. I will also be away next week, so there will be no podcast next week. But for now, you're awesome, stay awesome, and rock on. Peace.